push through, see if we could, kind of finagle it to get approved without having to file for the extension. And we actually did get it approved without the game being out. So there is hope. Welcome to another episode of the Nebulos Entertainment Podcast. Today, it's just going to be me because I'm going to be talking about protecting your intellectual property through trademarks. So we did an episode on copywriting, and now we're going to do it on trademarks. Eric is not with us today, but he's actually recording his own episode right now on Procreate. So it's just a little side note. But I do have my notes here because at one point in time, I did know this stuff off the top of my head, but some things have changed and I've lost touch with all of the trademark information. So when it comes to trademarks, they're very important, just like copywriting is. But trademarks are a lot more expensive than copywriting. So copywriting, while it might be $50 to $70 to file, trademarks are going to be anywhere from $250 to $650, depending on if you use an attorney, who your attorney is, if you file by yourself, so on and so forth. There is a cost to it. And when it comes to trademarks, they can be protected indefinitely as long as the owner continues to trademark the name. So you have to know who the owner is, and if they trademark, they have to continue to file that. So the trademark is 10 years, okay? And then within that 10-year renewal, there is a date between the 5th and the 6th year that you have to file an affidavit, which is stating that the mark is still in use. If you don't file that, then the USPTO can actually cancel your trademark, because at this point in time, to them, it says that, hey, all right, this is like no longer in use. The USPTO has ways around everything. Trust me, it's a pain. Like I think we own 3 trademarks. As the company, our logo, our name, and then Stormwood Sales. All 3 of those are registered trademarks. But Ironclad Tides, back when it was called that trademark failed. So they find reasons. So trademarks, they can cover words, they can cover names, symbols, designs, slogans, logos. They can cover a combination. You can mix more than one together. Even if you have a copyright on them, you can dual protect them with a trademark as well. And usually copywriting is usually for, and we had talked about this a little bit in the last episode, it's usually for creative pieces. Trademarking is more on the side of the business. So, like we talked about, name, words, phrases, images, things that might not be eligible for copyright protection, you can actually take the protection of trademarking it. So, and again, just like copywriting, you still have common law with trademark. Your common law is going to be the TM that you put next to your logo or your name or your slogan. When it comes to your logo and your name, you put the TM. Only when it becomes actually officially registered, then that's when you can use the R with the circle. Okay. That's the symbol that you use for that. But the trademark has to be clear. Okay, it has to represent a clear product, a clear service. Otherwise, you're not going to, if you go to register it, it's going to be denied. And if you go to register it and you haven't really looked in the database, you haven't had anybody look to see if it's going to actually contest with somebody else's trademark, then that's going to cost you more time and more money. So this is why we have an attorney that we have a legal team, but one of the people there, they handle intellectual property, and they can do their own search through the database. And we knew that going into Ironclad Tides, for example, you're probably like, well, why Ironclad Tides got denied? Well, it's like, well, we knew going into it that there was a PC company, but they hadn't operated in like 5 years. So we had thought that we were going to be in the clear, and it was called like Ironclad Games. It wasn't even, it wasn't Ironclad Tides. Like we thought that we had a good run at being able to, distinguish ourselves differently because it was the name of a game. But the USPTO, whoever was reviewing our case at that point in time, deemed that no, we are not worthy. So we had to change up the name. And once it gets denied, you can't just go back and I actually don't know. You might be able to appeal the process. I think that you could probably appeal the process, but again, I don't know. I should know that having this, but we didn't appeal it. We just moved on to a new one because it would cost us more time and more money to appeal it, to have somebody else look at it. And then once somebody looks at it, another person looks at it, then they got to come together, congregate, and it could sway either way. So let's see here. So when it comes to trademarking, you have to have classes. So there are certain classes, each one is a number, and so the numbers, whether you're selling it on like digital products, e-commerce products, like tangible items, no matter what it is, it could be filed under multiple classes, like hoodies versus shirts, t-shirts versus mugs, apparel versus accessories. Like there's a bunch of different, and nobody knows these off the top of their head. You'd have to go look at the list, but you have to file. You have to know which ones you're going to be filing for, and if you have an intent to use. So let's say that your trademark is it's not being used right now. So when we were making Stormwind Sales, we were building the game, but we had not put the game out. So we had an intent to use that name on the game. Okay, so for us to do that, because there was no actual product out, we had to file an intent to use, and then I believe it was a 6-month period where it had to be in use. Otherwise, you have to file for an extension, which costs more money. I think it's a couple $100 to file for an extension. It's $100 per class, I believe, that you have to file for an extension. So we had 2 classes for our game, so it's $200 to file for the extension. However, we decided that we're going to push through, see if we could, kind of finagle it to get approved without having to file for the extension. And we actually did get it approved without the game being out. So there is hope. It depends on who's reviewing your case and whether or not they have a good day. It's like going to the DMV. All right. When you wait in the line, you get up to the front, are they in a good mood? Are they in a bad mood? Who knows? So that's what it's like with the USPTO. When it comes to categorizing your mark, there are a few ways that you can categorize it. One is fanciful. So this is made up words that can not be otherwise defined. So Nebulos. So Nebulos is technically not a word. So that would be an example. Arbitrary. So these are real words, but are completely unrelated to the product or service that they are named for. Suggestive is the third option, and these are words that suggest some sort of quality about a product or service. The fourth one is descriptive. These are words or designs that are exactly representing the good or service that they are being used for. And the fifth one is going to be generic. These are words that are commonly used to refer to the product or the service. So when it comes to registering your trademarks, I still think that it's a good idea to register your trademarks because, again, like we talked about in the copywriting episode, you have common law, but you're not going to legally be protected if you wanted to go against somebody who's infringing unless you have it registered. So when it comes to registering, you can file with the USPTO, the United States Patent and Trademark Office. You can do this either through mail or online. I mean, nowadays we do everything online. That's what I would recommend. It's going to be quicker, and you can track the application process. You're going to have to include your trademark. So if you're doing for the logo, for the Nebulos Entertainment logo, we did an all black because they don't want the color. It has to be black. Nebulos logo as the artwork when we submitted it. Same thing with the name. So the Nebulos Entertainment name, again, all black, Nebulos Entertainment, just like you were typing into a Word document. That's what it has to look like. So if you have any special fonts, if you do have special colors, I don't think you have to submit the basic colors, like your red, yellow, greens, and blues. If you have a specific color to your company, to your brand that identifies what the brand is and who you are, it's important to your branding, then I do believe you actually have to submit that as well if it is a part of what you're submitting as the artwork, the name, the logo, so on and so forth. If nobody disputes your claim, so when you file and you submit it, this could take up to 3 months for them to make a decision to review, to approve and reject your application. If you reject it, you can resubmit a new trademark proposal. Okay, so now I've made it down to the notes that I've made before. So you can resubmit a new trademark proposal. Again, I don't know if you can appeal the process of the previous one. So if nobody disputes your claim, okay, if it's not rejected, it's accepted, and then you enter into a different period. I believe it's called like the 1B period or B1 period, where everybody else can come in and dispute your claim. So if somebody sees that your trademark is close to theirs, then they can come in and dispute and be like, whoa, this is going to be, infringing, impeding on our logo, our name, so on and so forth. They can come in and dispute it. But if nobody disputes it, the USPTO will issue what's called a NOA, which is a notice of allowance. This is usually within a month or two of the initial approval process. And this basically says that your trademark is allowed, but it's not registered yet. So that means nobody disputed it, but it's still not at the registered process. So think about it. We're 5 months in. Okay, you're 5 months into your submission at this point in time, and it's still not registered. So within that 6 month, if you have, if nobody, like, again, you're allowed, you have the statement of use, you have everything filed. The USPTO will make the final decision, and they will give you that final notice of approval, and they will show you and they'll actually mail you a document, the formal document that has the registration of your trademark, and you will be in the system from there. Then you can start using it with, technically you can start using it with the R, the circle with the R as the symbol, to notify to the public, and this just shows the legal protection over your trademark. So again, when you have common law, you can use the TM saying, hey, this is ours, we own it. If you have a service, you can use the SM, the service mark. And then if you have, once it's registered, that's the R with the circle. So, okay, so here's some additional points to note. That if your trademark name is used for something other than its initial intention, so its initial classes, and that's, let's say it catches on, all of a sudden it's a trend and it's blown up, it's getting big, you could actually lose your trademark because it's not what it was intended to be used for initially. Okay, make sure that you're maintaining your trademark registration. So again, between that 5th and 6th year, you have to file that, the affidavit. You have to file that to make sure that the mark is still in use. But again, the lifespan is 10 years. Okay, so yeah. Oh, and here's the last final piece is that the USPTO, they do not care about notifying you when your trademark is up, how many years it's been in use. They don't care. You will not get notified. Unless they've changed that, they will not notify you in your time frame of saying, hey, you need to submit this to keep with it. They don't care. So if you don't submit the forms, you lose the trademark protection, and you will actually have to repeat the process of trademarking all over again. Again, I don't know if there's an appeal process. There might be to this. I would doubt it, but that's just me. And you can find this information on the USPTO website. That will be the best place for you to take a look. So I appreciate you taking the time to listen about trademarking and copywriting. I know it's dry information. I know that it is, it's a pain, it's tedious, it's all this fun legal jargon, but it is necessary to protect your company, to protect the people in your company, your team, everything that you all are working for. I do believe that it is an important piece. So if you'd like to support us, we would greatly appreciate it. And you can dive deeper into the world of game development on our Nebulos Entertainment Patreon or social media at Nebulos_ENT. And we just, we do appreciate everybody's. I think we have 9 patrons now, so we definitely care about everybody that is helping bring this vision to life. So thank you all very much. Above all, remember that there is a story in all of us.